The Safari Zone is a highlight in Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green. There are a ton of different Pokemon and some very unique ones like Rhyhorn, Chansey, Kangaskhan, Tauros and Exeggcute. But most of them are also very rare. Here are the rules. I will try to make use of most Safari Zone Pokemon, I promise. So let's begin. There are no Safari Zone Pokemon before Brock, so I use the Universal Pokemon Randomizer to change Bulbasaur to Kangaskhan. I think Charizard results in the strongest champion team to beat. I beat every trainer in the Viridian Forest and the camper in the gym. No, Brock is next. Gym leader of Pewter City. This battle looks so easy, but I needed a lot of experience to beat him. Bite is very strong, but Dark is special in this game, and Kangaskhan has not a lot of special attack to really use Bite here. It doesn't really matter. The next gym leaders will be way more interesting. Brock is mostly a check if my Pokemon have a good move against him, that's all. Brock is defeated. I received the first badge, but most importantly, Route 3 is open now. On that route are wild nidorans. They are also available in the Safari Zone, so it's perfect to increase the size of my team a bit. In Mount Moon are Paras right at home, similar to the Safari Zone. I catch one because grass types in the early game are amazing. At the end of Mount Moon I can choose a fossil. Unfortunately I said Mount Moon and not Safari Zone, so no fossil Pokemon for me in this run. While preparing for the next battles, Nidoran reaches level 16 and evolves into Nidorino. I could just push through with Kangaskhan alone, but that's not fun. The rival at the Nugget Bridge is usually the first major battle I do in Cerulean City, and today it is the exact same as usual. First up is Pidgeotto against my Nidorino. Sand Attack is one of the strongest moves against me. It works 9 times out of 10, but today I got lucky. Using a Leer first and then Focus Energy to be a real danger and then destroying Pidgeotto in 2 more turns with double kick. Next is Abra, but I switch into Paras and then back to Nidorino to reset the accuracy and then proceed to use Focus Energy again. Peck is enough to beat the little Psychic type. Now comes Rattata, but Nidorino can tank any move and hit back with double kick to KO. Last is Charmander, and that Pokemon is super dangerous. Nidorino has no chance to beat that fire type and goes down after 2 attacks. Kangaskhan in, but if Ember burns, this battle is lost. Paras won't be able to do anything against a fire type attack, but it just doesn't matter. Kangaskhan pushes through and KOs Charmander easily. The rival is defeated and I really want to check out what's behind Nugget Bridge. On Route 25, this specific trainer, who stands just perfectly when challenged from a little further away, I can sneak behind and get the TM for secret power, maybe the single best attack in the early game. And I want to test my team against the gym leader Misty now, the water type enthusiast in Cerulean City. Her team is Staryu and Starmie, very original. I start with Paras against Staryu. I wanted to push as much damage as possible with Bullet Seed, but Staryu was right in the healing range and I tried to use Stun Spore. It also missed. Nice, but it doesn't matter. Several Bullet Seeds later, Staryu will lose, and that is very important for the last Pokemon. Misty's a Starmie. Paras has enough HP to get 1 Stun Spore on Starmie, and with that Pokemon paralyzed I can use Bullet Seed to continue doing damage. But Starmie still comes out on top, defeating my Paras. I use Nidorino next. Tried Peck for some damage, but it was so low I need some Leer to decrease the defense first. After 2 Leer I realized I can just have it way easier switching into Kangaskhan and just 1 single secret power KO Starmie easily. Misty is out of Pokemon and I already received the second badge. I can now move on to the next big stop on my journey through Kanto. Arriving in Vermilion City, I immediately visit the SSN, one of the most important locations. Here are nice items, like for example the Cherry Berry for the next gym, but also the TM for Brick Break, which I always forget to use against Eradicate in the next rival battle. Speaking of which, he is also on the ship looking for the HM cut, but he doesn't seem to need it, while I really need it to continue the run. And while we're seeing each other, let's fight. I start with Nidorino against Pidgeotto again. First Focus Energy, while the bird uses Sand Attack again. Looks similar to the Nugget Bridge incident. Double kick spam until Pidgeotto goes down. Focus Energy was completely useless here, the only crit was the one which KO'd anyway. Next is Kadabra, but as expected, Nidorino cannot even use a single move before going down. I bring in Paras and that Leech Seed was amazing. Just shows how weak Kadabra is on the defense. One more bullet seed to KO. Against Charmeleon, I let Paris go, there's no reason to keep it here. Kangaskhan is my last Pokemon, but by far the strongest one. Fake out and then 2 Secret Power gets rid of Charmeleon easily. Last is Eradicate, but even with Growl used against me, 2 Secret Power KOs the red without any issues. The rival is defeated and I can go visit Captain HM Cut for the hidden machine. I really needed to enter the next gym. Before facing the Electric-type gym leader, I let Nidorino evolve into Nidoking, a Ground-type Pokemon. That counts as the strongest Pokemon in this region, simply because it can beat actually every single major battle on its own. Lieutenant Surge, the 3rd gym leader, Electric-type trainer and resident of Vermilion City. We battle and I wanted to use Nidoking until I wanted to find out if Kangaskhan is able to beat Lieutenant Surge as well. And let's say it wasn't even a battle. Everyone goes down before making a relevant move, and Raichu was actually able to survive a hit, but it was useless. Lieutenant Surge is defeated and I feel bad not having used Nidoking, but everybody knows that Pokemon quite well already. While inside Rock Tunnel, only Paris can beat up the Geodude and Graveler reliable, which leads to its evolution into Parasect. This Pokemon is great in the first parts of the game. Right after Rock Tunnel is Lavender Town, and here's the Pokemon Tower, but I can challenge the rival, because he's already here ahead of me and waits for the new battle. He starts with Pidgeotto against my Kangaskhan. Fake out and Secret Power should not be enough, but a critical hit finishes the bird off immediately. Next Gyarados. Because of Intimidate, I want to use Tail Whip first and then switch into Parasect. The idea was to use Poison Powder and then go down, back into Kangaskhan, but for some reason Gyarados was not able to finish Parasect off. Well, the confusion from Thrash was the reason, but I accepted. The rival's ace Charmeleon doesn't play around and defeating Parasect in one hit. I bring in Nidoking, use a dig, but it doesn't KO. It's not a big deal, I have Double Kick ready. Now comes the big issue, Exeggcute. Usually it's not an issue, but Hypnosis was annoying, and when I switch into Kangaskhan, Confusion hits and confuses. So I switch back into Nidoking just to take a hit and switch back into Kangaskhan, but this time no confusion status and I am able to KO the grass and Psychic type. Last is Kadabra. But my normal type is faster and KOs in one hit. The rival's out of Pokemon, the battle is over, and I can now start to explore the rest of Kanto. Arriving in Celadon City. Usually the stuff I have to do is not a whole lot relevant now, but getting the tea and the coin case might be very good for later. And just west of Celadon is a small house with someone giving out free HM Fly. But to arrive here, I have to cross a little patch of grass containing doduos. I really love this Pokemon in this game, it's just amazing. And since it's available in the Safari Zone, it's now part of my team. After leveling up a bit, I tried the Erika battle in Celadon City. It's a gym leader who decided grass types should be her specialty. First is Victreebel and I go with Doduo. Fly is a strong move even in combat, but it only has 95% hit rate, so it could miss sometimes. But stun Spore as well, so it's fine. Another Fly deals way over half and Paralysis gets removed thanks to the Cherry Berry. One Tri-Attack KOs the first Pokemon. Next is Tangela, and this was very stupid. I wanted to use Fly, but used Tri-Attack instead, and as usual I get never punished. Even got a burn on it when it was trying to use Ingrain. Just another one and that's it. Last Pokemon is Erika's Ace Vileplume, and Fly is very strong here as well, nearly defeating it in one go. This time Paralysis sticks, but Doduo didn't care and swung with Tri-Attack anyway, defeating the grass type. Erika loses and I get another badge. Now let's check out what's underneath the game corner. Deep underground is a Team Rocket hideout. They control the game corner and there's one item I really want to have, it's called the Silph Scope. But only Giovanni has it. So we battle. First Onix against my Parasect. I only have Bullet Seed as a damaging grass type attack. Very sad, it doesn't learn any other moves via level up. But Onix has no chance against it, so it's fine. Next is Rhyhorn, and similar issue. Double super effective. And with a lot of hits, Rhyhorn is going down. Last is Kangaskhan, and that was a bit funny. I tried to use Poison Powder to get some additional damage in, but every single time it missed. Very unlucky. I bring in Kangaskhan now for a mirror match. But it's pretty clear who will come out on top. Well, not really. Mega Punch can deal a lot of damage, but Secret Power is okay as well. After a while, the opposing normal type goes down. Giovanni is defeated and he runs away, but leaves the Silph Scope behind. With it, I can visit the top of Pokemon Tower and talk to Mr. Fuji. I'm not sure what his deal is, but he gives me the Pokefluid, which I will use immediately. Waking up Snorlax is very important. It allows me to travel to Fuchsia City. And here is the Safari Zone. My home, basically. There are a lot of Pokemon to catch. Way too many to count. So, let's begin. The first I can find is Rhyhorn. Very strong Pokemon, but unfortunately the typing is quite weak for this generation. But I try to make it work somehow. Next is venonat. I was thinking about catching one outside the Safari Zone, but where's the fun in that? One very important Pokemon is Exeggcute. I used it before and was amazing every time it entered the battlefield. The first very rare Pokemon I went for is Chansey. It took nearly 2 hours to catch one, but it will be totally worth it. I hope. Just under 1 hour and I finally catch Tauros. It's so frustrating to see them flee immediately, but they are so strong. Last Pokemon to catch is Scyther. I was thinking about just buying one in a game corner, but catching is always a nice feeling. There are a lot of more Pokemon to get in the Safari Zone, like Dratini or Psyduck. Amazing Pokemon, but I decided against catching Pokemon via fishing because the Pokemon I have are already way too strong, and Water-type Pokemon are just on average the best Pokemon I can get. Dratini is an interesting one. It evolves so late into its final form Dragonite that I want to skip it just because of that. While training inside Pokemon Tower for special attack, venonat reaches level 33 and learns Psybeam. That is also the point I let it evolve into Venomoth. I think this Pokemon can be quite good, and let's try it out at the next major battle. Koga is the gym leader in Fuchsia City, the poison type trainer, and ninja for some reason. His team tries to poison my team and uses Mini-Mice to dodge all of my attacks, but it didn't work out at all. First coughing against my Venomoth. I use one Psybeam and the poison type is defeated in one hit. Next is Muk, and this was very lucky for me. I used 2 Psybeam and realized the damage is not enough, and Muk would go into healing range, so I used Stun Spot to slow it down. But my last Psybeam just couldn't get hit and it's done. The second coughing is usually the same as the first one, but for some reason it survives Psybeam easily. Doesn't really matter because this just burns through all the hyper potions Koga has, so this is actually pretty good for me. Last is Koga's Ace Wheezing, and I was prepared to let Venomoth go, but a crit said otherwise. Koga's out of Pokemon and I can finally leave Fuchsia City behind, having done everything I needed here. I wanted to check out the next gym, but I cannot, since Team Rocket occupied a Silph Co building. Before I can talk to the boss, I have to beat up the rival again. He starts with Pidgeot and I go with Rhyhorn. Feather Dance just wastes some time, while Rock Slide still deals good damage, considering the level difference. Wing Attack does like no damage, and after just 3 hits of Rock Slide, Pidgeot is defeated. Next is Exeggcute and I switch into doduo, anticipating Sleep Powder, but my flying type has Early Bird, but it still never woke up and was just KO'd. I use Scyther now. Wing Attack deals good damage, but Stun Spore will make it a bit harder for the next Pokemon. At least Exeggcute is down. The rival's Ace Charizard is here and will KO my Bug type easily, making some room for Tauros. It's faster and Rock Tomb hits, but doesn't KO. I actually thought it would deal way more damage. Using Kangaskhan now and finish the Fire Dragon off with a Fake Out and Secret Power. Gyarados comes in now and I switch into Exeggcute. But I heavily overestimated its defensive capabilities, going down in 2 hits before I can make a move. Okay, I bring in Rhyhorn next. Rock Slide deals amazing damage, but even Bite will defeat Rhyhorn, since it's so fragile on a special defense. And it was a critical hit. My last Pokemon is Kangaskhan, but a Fake Out critical hit KOs Gyarados. The final Pokemon of this battle is Alakazam, but it does not have a damaging move besides Fuchsia Side, so it goes down quite easily after 2 Secret Power hits. Even though the first one paralyzed both Pokemon, the rival is defeated, and I have a feeling the level difference will catch up quite fast now. The final boss of Silph Co is, as usual, our good old friend Giovanni. His team is a bit lackluster against the rivals, but it can be quite dangerous sometimes as well. He starts with Nidoran against my Rhyhorn. I have a deck from the Celadon department store and it's super effective. It's important to not trigger Poison Point, but I cannot do anything about it. Or I could, but Rock Slide is only neutral. Next is Nidoqueen, and here starts some issues. I use Dig, and of course Rhyhorn gets poisoned immediately. Another Dig brings it into KO range, but thanks to double Tail Whip, one double kick use KOs my Pokemon easily. I choose Tauros next, and it easily KOs Nidoqueen, but not without getting poisoned as well. Against Kangaskhan, there's not much variety on moves I can use, just pushing Psychic Power as often as I can, but right before the finishing line, Kangaskhan hits with a devastating Mega Punch to KO. Doduo comes to the rescue, hits with Tri-Attack, and Kangaskhan is defeated. Last Rhyhorn, and Doduo cannot do anything here, so I switch into Execute, finish Rhyhorn, end this battle with one final Gear Drain. Giovanni is defeated and runs away as usual, but the next time we meet, he cannot run away. While in Saffron City, I decided to face Sabrina, the Psychic-type gym leader. And I have to admit, the ending of this battle was stupid, but I would do it again if I have to. First a Kadabra against my Scyther. I'm faster and one Wing Attack KOs, which I really like. Next is Venomoth, and Wing Attack nearly KOs while Gust doesn't deal a whole lot. The damage Wing Attack did is actually perfect to burn through not one but two Hyper Potions. Mr. Mime does also survive a hit and sets up Barrier, but I guess my damage was still good enough to KO afterwards. Sabrina's Ace Alakazam is faster and just KOs my Pokemon. No stars is stupid gameplay. I use Kangaskhan, press on Fake Out and then switch out. I will do this 3 times in total, switching into different Pokemon to reset Fake Out basically. I felt a bit dirty doing it like this, but as long as it works out, why not? In the end, Alakazam goes down to Fake Out. Sabrina's defeated. I will just ignore what happened and move on. While beating up the trainer inside Cinnabar Gym, the duo finally evolves into Dodrio. This Pokemon is super strong and can be one of the strongest Pokemon in any team. Blaine is the leader of Cinnabar Gym, and he bases his team around Fire-type Pokemon. Fortunately, my team is quite good against them, so let's see what happens. First Growlithe against Nidoking. I use Dig, and when Nidoking comes back up, a critical hit KOs thanks to being super effective. Next Ponyta, and I try again. Dig hits, but doesn't KO. So I use Thrash next, but it doesn't KO either, and Nidoking burned to a crisp. I bring in Rhyhorn now, and one Rock Slide KOs easily. Now comes Blaine's Ace, the legendary Pokemon Arcanine. I switch into Scyther for a free switch out. No chance it survives. Using Dodrio next, use Fly. Should be the best damaging move for now, but it seems quite low and Dodrio goes down. This calls for Kangaskhan, using Fake Out for some damage and then Secret Power, but it only broke Arcanine into the healing range, which leads to more Secret Powers. The final hit Kangaskhan can get in also paralyzes, which was amazing. I can use Rhyhorn again to KO Arcanine with Rock Slide, thanks to paralysis. Last Rapidash and Fire Blast dealt so much damage, even resisted, but Rock Slide connects and KOs the final Pokemon of Blaine's team. He's defeated and I get another badge, only one more to go. Execute gains some level and at 37 it learns Sleep Powder, which is good enough for me to evolve with Leaf Stone. I want to see how it stacks up against Giovanni. The battle against Giovanni was exactly how I expected it to be. Complete slaughterfest. Exeggutor destroyed him so quick, it was really dirty. Giga Drain one-shot both Rhyhorn and Dugtrio. Against Nidoking and Nidoqueen, it's simply one Psychic each. Nidoking and Dugtrio were able to make a move against me, but it wasn't enough. Giovanni's defeated, last badge earned, and all that's left to do is some preparations and the Elite Four. Chansey never got a chance to show what it can do, so let's teach it Seismic Toss first, easily available at the Pewter City Museum. And back at Silph Co, I can get Thunder Wave, which is most likely the best move Chansey can get. Well, that's not completely true, but it's good enough. And of course, on Route 22 is a rival diligently waiting to beat me up before I can explore the victory road and challenge the Elite Four. His team is already quite strong and could be very dangerous. It actually was, and I had to level up a bit already. First Pidgeot against my Rhyhorn. Thanks to Feather Dance, I usually need 3 hits to KO the flying type with Rock Slide. I feel like Rhyhorn is an interesting Pokemon, but it gets easily outmaneuvered against basically everything. Next is Exeggutor, and it can only do status moves or a 2-turn solar beam. So let's hit with secret power first and then switch into doduo. Beam does a bit of damage, but one use of fly will hit and KO Exeggcute because of its grass type. The rival chooses Rhyhorn next and I switch into Exeggutor. I was very surprised to see Horn drill, but it missed and Giga Drain cleans it up. Charizard, the rival's ace, is just way too strong and would beat up everyone in my team, Exeggutor first. But I use Chansey now, and everyone who knows Chansey also knows this will take a while. Thunder Wave to slow Charizard down, then Soft Boil to heal up and Water Pulse to realize there's no damage coming from Chansey. I switch into Rhyhorn, but even with paralysis, it is still slower and gets easily KO'd by Flamethrower, since Rhyhorn has no special defense. It's crazy. Tauros is still here, uses Rock Tomb and a critical hit removes the Fire Dragon in one go. With one monster gone, the second arrives, Gyarados. I use 2 secret power, but 2 Hydro Pumps got the better deal and Tauros goes down. Kangaskhan in, using first Fake Out for a free turn, and then secret power to finally KO. Last is Alakazam and I just go for the damage. Secret power does over half and the second one KOs. Not sure how much Psychic would have done. The rivals are the Pokemon and the way to the Elite Four, the final challenge of this Fire Red run, is open. Before facing the Elite Four, Rhyhorn evolves into Rhydon. I really want to like it, but it falls short against the 4 Elite Four member and is only really good against exactly the champion's Pidgeot. But that has to be good enough. I brought my team up to level 45 as I mostly do. I'm not sure which Elite Four member can be a real issue, maybe Lance? The champion however will destroy me and I have to re-level later on, but let's find out. The first Elite Four member is a Lorelei, the water type specialist. I tried this battle many times and it was a bit harder than it looks, but I figured it out. First Dewgong against my Tauros. I used Double Edge and a critical hit KOs Dewgong. The crit was not necessary, but I like to see it. Next is Cloyster and I switch into Exeggutor, using 1 Giga Drain to KO the water type Pokemon easily. Do you even protect, bro? Lorelei's ace Alapas was chosen next and I used Chansey against it. This battle is quite a lot. The idea was to use Thunder Wave and then a combination of Seismic Toss and Soft Boil to stall as long as possible, or until Lapras is somewhere in the yellow so that Rhydon can finish it, but I underestimated Lapras' Body Slam damage and went down before I could use any Soft Boiled. I bring in Rhydon regardless, but Rock Slide missed, while Lapras stayed paralyzed. That was close, and then hit for the KO, beating Lorelei's ace. Jinx is here for revenge, and it got it. 1 Ice Punch KOs from full HP. I have Kangaskhan still available, using 1 Fake Out for a huge chunk of HP, and then Shadow Ball for the KO. I was a bit surprised that I was faster. Last is Slowbro and Shadow Ball deals very good damage. In fact, it was a perfect amount to skip the full restore range and Slowbro goes down. Lorelei is defeated. The first Elite Four member is looking for a new job. I was a bit shocked against Bruno, the second Elite Four member, the Hiker type trainer. On paper, his team should struggle big time against Exeggutor, and that's actually how it is, but Exeggutor is a bit slow. Against the first Onix, 1 Giga Drain easily KOs, but that's to be expected. Hitmonchan is faster and hits for a lot of damage, but goes down in 1 Psychic. Hitmonlee is faster and has Mega Kick, dealing a huge amount, but goes down in 1 hit as well. The second Onix would be faster than Exeggutor, but I switch out into Chansey and try to KO with Water Pulse, but it doesn't. That is so embarrassing. I try to use Soft Boil, but the damage is always back in, so it doesn't really change anything. I just push through enough Water Pulse to KO Onix. Last is Bruno's ace Machamp, and Chansey went down. I bring in Exeggutor again, because Machamp is actually the slowest Pokemon in Bruno's team. My goal was to deal a bit of damage, but Machamp missed with Rock Tomb because he wanted to style KO me. Didn't work out and Machamp is defeated. Hiker Bruno is out of Pokemon and that battle was a bit different than usual. Now comes the most annoying Elite Four member, the Poison type trainer Agatha. She has all the nice moves like Confuse Ray, Double Team and even Hypnosis. She starts with Gengar against my Kangaskhan. Shadow Ball hits for a huge amount of damage but doesn't KO, while Double Team is used. Of course I missed a turn after, but Confuse Ray was negated by Person Berry. Another Shadow Ball and the first one is defeated. The next is Golbat and I wanted to deal a bit of damage until Confusion hits, and it was just 1 turn I got until I hit myself. I switch into Rhydon and being slower than Golbat is always a stressful situation, but I hit with Rock Slide and Golbat went down. Next Arbok, and Intimidate could be bad for me, but the critical hit Iron Tail was way worse, defeating Rhyhorn. I used Exeggutor next, and I didn't realize how much damage Sludge Bomb did, but I survived on 1 HP, swinging back with Psychic for the KO on Arbok. Big Gengar is the next opponent, and I let Exeggutor go, bringing in Dodrio. Hypnosis hits, but Dodrio has Early Bird, so it wakes up easily to use Fly, and when it came down it did it below half, but Dodrio was KO'd immediately the turn after. I have Kangaskhan still left, and of course Hypnosis hits again. But Kangaskhan has Early Bird as well, and when it wakes up, 1 Shadow Ball hits and KOs. Last is Haunter, and it survives the Shadow Ball just to hit with Hypnosis again. 3 in a row? Really? But Early Bird comes to the rescue yet again, and hits for the KO from full HP this time. Agatha is defeated, and that means only 1 more Elite Four member to go. The last and final Elite Four member is Lance. Doesn't specialize in any type, which makes sense for the final battle. The goal is to have easy matchups, and Lance starts with Gyarados while I go with Chansey first. Special attacks deal nearly no damage, and Thunder Wave was activated. I switch into Rhyhorn because Gyarados does not have a water type attack. Lance might want to check that after this battle. 2 Rock Slides defeat the water flying type. Next Dragonair, and I go with Kangaskhan. Seeing Outrage used is not what I like to see. Why not Safeguard? Or maybe Thunder Wave? I do have a Cherry Berry ready, but to return KO the Mono Dragon Pokemon. Next Dragonair, and all I can do is steal some damage and then go down to Hyper Beam, bringing in Dodrio to finish it off with Tri-Attack. Lance chooses Aerodactyl next, and I switch into Rhyhorn, because I believe Aerodactyl has not a single good move against it. I talked smack about Rhyhorn earlier, but it is an amazing Pokemon against Lance. 2 Rock Slides would KO, but Full Restore takes some time, but the end is clear, Aerodactyl loses. Last is Lance's Ace Dragonite. I might still need Rhyhorn, switching into Tauros for Intimidate, but got blasted immediately by Outrage, bringing in Chansey again to show the true power of this egg-formed normal type. Thunder Wave to slow Dragonite down, and then Blizzard for a bit more than half. Angry Dragonite hits itself in confusion, and I can get a hit in with Seismic Toss to make the KO perfect. But Wing Attack was used, and a critical hit KOs Chansey. That was crazy how fragile Chansey can be. I have Rhyhorn left for this situation and use 1 Rock Slide to KO Dragonite. The crit didn't matter. Lance, the last of the Elite Four, is defeated, but he says there's one final battle waiting for me, and after I did my small victory dance around him, the final challenge of Fire Red and Leaf Green, the champion of Kanto, is ready to battle. The final challenge of the run is against a rival, or more accurately, champion. His team is really good, easily the hardest battle, and let's see if my team is able to beat him. First is Pidgeot against Rhyhorn. The bird has no good moves against the rock type, and 1 Rock Slide brings it into the yellow. I wanted to do another one, but the champion switches out into his own Rhyhorn. This means for me to switch out into Exeggutor, tanking the Earthquake easily. Well, it did about half, but 1 Giga Drain hits and KOs Rhyhorn while healing my Pokemon back to full. Gyarados enters the arena, and I cannot do anything, staying in and use Sleep Powder and hope that I get enough sleep turns to KO with Psychic. But after just 2 hits in, Gyarados wakes up to finish my Exeggutor off. I have Tauros in my team for this situation, only some HP remain, and Double Edge is so strong, it KOs the water type easily. Pidgeot back in, and I switch into Rhyhorn to see Full Restore, and then proceed to use Rock Slide into Rock Slide to hopefully see the bird finally come down. And it did, defeating Pidgeot. Next is the Exeggutor, and I switch into Dodrio. Giga Drain did some damage, but I used Fly to get a lot of damage in, but Exeggutor managed to use Sleep on Dodrio. I actually forgot to equip the Chester Berry on Dodrio, but Early Bird will help, right? It kinda did, but the sleep was still for 2 turns. If Exeggutor didn't miss 1 Egg Bomb, Dodrio would be the one to go down. But Exeggutor falls, and only 2 Pokemon remain. Next is Alakazam. I switch into Chansey. Dodrios could still be useful, and I need Thunder Wave, even though it looks a bit strange when Alakazam has synchronized. But it is very helpful for the rest of the team. Reflect was set up, which might be an issue. I have to stall it out. Reflect is always 5 turns. The first is the turn it was used, so it is easy to keep track of. But Psychic reduced my special defense, and Chansey is actually still needed. I switch out into Dodrio to let it go down to Psychic, and then use Kangaskhan to first use Fake Out, removing the last turn of Reflect, and then use Shadow Ball to KO Alakazam. The critical hit didn't matter, it's just that fragile on the defense. Last is Charizard, and this was a bit sad. I wanted to let Kangaskhan go, but it easily tanked one hit and got a critical hit return, which makes this battle quite a lot easier. But Kangaskhan goes down and I bring in Chansey. It isn't paralyzed anymore because of its ability Natural Cure. And Thunder Wave to slow Charizard down. I switch into Tauros for Intimidate, didn't expect it to survive, but Slash is not enough. One Rock Tomb, being double, super effective, and Charizard, the final Pokemon, went down. The champion is out of Pokemon, he is defeated, and Team Safari Zone wins, getting the champion title, beginning a new era of Kanto. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions or advice, please let me know in the comments down below. Thank you for watching and I see you in the next one.